Hey there, self-care warriors. Have you ever wondered why an INFJ tends to be the favorite target of a narcissist? Now, INFJ is the rarest myers-briggs personality type, and this personality type tends to be on the conscientious and empathic end. So it's no surprise that a malignant narcissist would gravitate towards a sensitive type because they can exploit those qualities to suit their own agendas. I'm going to tell you the three primary reasons why INFJs tend to gravitate towards narcissists and why narcissists tend to gravitate towards them. So the first reason is that INFJs look for the ideal relationship. They are at heart perfectionists. They're always looking for someone who can see them for who they truly are and the gifts that they bring to this world. So a narcissist who happens to be very charming, appears to mirror all of their needs, their desires, their wants, appears to be the perfect match for them because they finally feel heard, they finally feel seen, down to every little nuance of their personality. And because they have such a multifaceted personality, they appreciate when someone can come in and appreciate their complexity. And the narcissist seems to do so in the beginning with their love bombing and their charisma and their ability to zoom in on what the INFJ is looking for in a partner. Now, of course, we know that narcissists do not really care about our personality traits or what we really want in the long term. They're simply using this love bombing phase in order to hook us and ensnare us. However, that first stage of love bombing really hooks us in because we feel like we've met our soulmate. This is the once in a lifetime meaningful connection that we've been searching for. And because the INFJ values that kind of connection, that kind of meaningful connection, they don't easily let go of it once they find it. So it can be very easy for a narcissist to come along and ensnare us into a trap if we don't know what we're looking for, if we're not in tune with our intuition, if we are not discerning about other people's motives, or at least we haven't tapped into that superpower of the INFJ, which is that finely honed intuition, because we do have a very, very perceptive intuition, which tends to be right in the very beginning, but we ignore it because if we think that our needs are being met, we tend to rationalize the red flags. Now, another reason that the INFJ is so attracted to narcissists and narcissists are attracted to them is that they tend to be fixers. They tend to be the healers of the world. You tend to find INFJs as speakers, as activists, as coaches, as therapists, as writers, and they are change makers. They are not just dreamers, they are doers. So when they find a relationship with someone who appears to have some wounding, their natural instinct is to fix them. Their natural instinct is to heal them. And this is a tendency that all empaths have. But INFJ especially is an empathic type that tries to cater to the needs of others because they want to help others. And it comes from a genuine desire to help and to make someone's world better, to make someone's life a little bit more manageable. And so because they themselves have insight into the human condition, they think mistakenly that they can fix the narcissist. They can provide all the help and the compassion and the empathy that will fix them, that will finally heal their wounds. What the INFJ doesn't realize is that someone who doesn't take accountability for their own healing is not going to care whether or not you take care of them. They're simply going to exploit that caretaking aspect and quality in you in order to meet their own needs without giving back. And so the INFJ really has to set healthy boundaries from the very beginning. They need to realize that they are only responsible for their own healing. And while they can help and suggest things to others as a way to provide advice or as a way to provide guidance, it's ultimately the other person's responsibility to take themselves to therapy, to work on their own issues. The INFJ is not an emotional punching bag, and they need to realize that. They are not an emotional sponge. They don't exist for other people's pain or other people's pleasure. They have to realize that and own their power. The third reason that the INFJ falls for a narcissist and the narcissist likes to exploit them is that they hate conflict. Now, we've all heard about the INFJ door slam, which is when the INFJ finally becomes ruthless with toxic people, and they slam the door on someone who has exhausted their emotional reserves. And they don't look back. They usually never look back, because once an INFJ is done with you, after they've given you a million chances to improve yourself, that's it. They're done with you. And once they're done, and they're not going to give you another chance. So that aspect of them can be very empowering once they learn how to detach and exit from toxic situations accordingly. But during the relationship, they tend to skirt around conflict, right? Even though they're great communicators in other aspects of life, when it comes to relationships, it's hard for them to set boundaries because they don't want to offend anyone. They're very diplomatic, they're very sensitive, they're very empathic. So they will skirt around the issue, they will try to sugarcoat things, and they're not being fake when they do this. They genuinely want to see you succeed, they genuinely want to preserve the relationship, but they also want to be able to express themselves. And when it comes to a toxic person and someone who makes you walk on eggshells every day, it's very hard to express yourself without the fear of retaliation. So the INFJ silences themselves in such a relationship unless they have strong and empowered boundaries. And so that makes them a very good candidate for a narcissist. Now, I'm not saying all this to blame the INFJ. This is simply a personality type, and these are traits that a lot of empathic types have. So just be aware of them and just realize that you do have the power to slam the door earlier than investing in the relationship for years and then finally slamming the door, right? You have the ability to get out sooner. You have the ability to tap into your intuition and to trust yourself, to trust your vibes, to trust your gut, to listen to your inner voice when it calls out to you. And stop gaslighting yourself, because another reason that the INFJ doubts themselves when they finally meet a narcissist like this is that society has told them and trained them and conditioned them into believing that they are oversensitive, that they are overreacting. And once they realize, no, that's not the case, they're not overreacting, and they were right all along, and their intuition is actually more on point when it comes to toxic people like this than the intuition of others, then they realize they do have a superpower that they can tap into at any time. So I hope this video has helped you gain insight into why narcissists tend to target INFJs, and realize that even though INFJ is a very rare type, it's very common and overrepresented in survivor communities. So we really want to explore that connection and understand why, and see how we can better protect ourselves and resist the gaslighting attempts of the narcissist and society that tells us that we are too sensitive. What we have to realize is that it's not just that we're being oversensitive, it's that sometimes people are legitimately insensitive, and their toxicity needs to be called out, and we need to hold toxic people accountable for their actions. And we need to be able to exit those situations when we encounter them early on. So I hope this video helps. If you're an INFJ or a similar empathic personality type, please do leave a comment sharing your experiences with narcissists below. And if you have any other reasons that you feel an INFJ tends to be targeted by a narcissist, please do share that as well. I'll talk to you guys soon, and until next time, take care.